Have you wondered why it's hard for adults to get rid of their native accents? Why kids can pick up a new language and speak fluently without an accent, but adults struggle forever? It's hard for non-native speakers to get rid of their accents because of many factors, but we can group them into two categories. In this video, we'll talk about those two categories and show you how you can overcome them to significantly improve your pronunciation and reduce your accent.
Hi, my name is Akbar and I can help you identify the problem areas that affect your pronunciation. I know how it feels because I struggle with my accent too. English is my first language since I've been living in North America for almost 20 years now. But English is not my native language. I learned the hard way what I needed to work on. After you know what the problems are, it's much easier to find the right solution. As Einstein once said,
Einstein spoke English with German accent.
If I had an hour to solve a problem, I would spend 55 minutes thinking about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about solutions.
So please watch this video till the end and understand the reasons first before looking for quick fixes. In less than 15 minutes, you'll have a much clearer idea of why you have an accent and what can you do to reduce accent and improve pronunciation. Now, broadly speaking, the two major obstacles that affect your accent are the structural problem of English itself and the mismatch of English sounds with your native language. So let me talk about the structural problems of English first. English pronunciation can be hard for non-native speakers because English is not a phonetic language. What does phonetic mean? A phonetic language sounds the same as it's written. But in English, the spelling and pronunciation often don't match. For example, look at these three words. They all end with O-U-G-H. In a phonetic language, they would rhyme with each other. But in English, they sound very different. Bow, cough, and through. This makes English confusing for non-native speakers. As adults, we tend to say words the way we see them, which can lead to mispronouncing words. If someone moves to the US as a child, they will pick up speaking easily without any formal training. They don't worry about how words are spelled or what rules they have. Their brain is good at copying the sounds of the language by listening to locals, not by reading grammar books. The parents, though, have a hard time with pronunciation and accent because as adults, they try to figure out how the language is written and how it is spoken. The brain gets mixed up and confused. To overcome this problem, it is essential to have a basic understanding of IPA or International Phonetic Alphabets. It's a system with over 100 symbols that represents all the sounds humans can make. English has more than 40 IPA sounds, but only 26 letters. Let's take the word electricity as an example. The letter C is repeated twice in this word, and each time is pronounced differently. The first C sounds like K, and the second sounds like S, electricity. See? And this is just one example. No wonder English pronunciation is so confusing. In addition to this odd sound structure, there are nuances in spoken English that also make it hard for non-native speakers to speak clearly without an accent. Let me show you some of the nuances of American accent that you may not learn in school. Take this question. How do you say it? If you said, "Did you?" well, that may be the standard way, but it's not how the natives talk. They blend D with Y together, making it sound like J. So they say, did you? This is something they don't learn from schools, but they pick up while growing up. Another linking example is these two words. How do you say it? Maybe you said next year, but don't you think it sounds awkward? In this case, we drop the T in next. Instead, we say next year. We skip the final T of next. See, these things they don't teach you in school, and it all adds to the accent you've developed. In addition to the inherent problem of English sound structure, your native language also influences your accent, making correct pronunciation even more tricky. Languages have different structures and sounds. Some sounds in your language may not exist in English, and vice versa. When you encounter a new sound in English, your brain tries to match it with the closest sound in your language. This can lead to mispronunciations and accents. You're not producing the exact sound, but an approximation of it. For example, the sound je in words like measure is not found in many languages. Speakers of those languages may replace it with the closest sound in their language. It could be z, making it sound like measure, or it could be y, sounding like measure. Because no language has every single sound of English, hence they replace those missing sounds with the closest approximation they can find, making accent unavoidable. Now, because some languages don't have certain English sounds, it makes it hard for speakers of those languages to hear or say them correctly. The brain gradually loses the ability to distinguish those sounds. For example, many languages do not have the V sound, so when they hear it, they think it's W instead. This makes it hard for them to say words like vest or van. I call this phenomenon sound deafness. It is similar to color blindness, where people cannot see certain colors. I struggled with sound deafness myself. I could not tell the difference between V and W. I still struggle with these sounds sometimes, but I have learned how to say them properly, so people can understand me better. And I can guess from the context if someone is saying west with W or vest with V. In a nutshell, you develop an accent because the sounds of English don't exactly match the sound system of your language, and spoken English has quite a few informal rules that unfortunately are not taught in schools. So now you know what are the obstacles that prevent you from improving your pronunciation. But how can you overcome these obstacles? Well, let's talk about the solutions. The course I've created addresses these problems in a practical way by teaching you step by step how to improve your pronunciation and reduce your native accent. The first step in grasping the American accent is to go over all the sounds, all the vowels and all the consonants, and identify what sounds are tricky for you. No matter what your native language is, you'll find that many of these sounds overlap with your native sound structure. This means you'll eventually be left with only a few sounds that you have difficulty pronouncing correctly. Once you understand the sound structure of English, you can move beyond spelling and avoid confusion between written and spoken words. Next, this course focuses on spoken structure. While schools often spend a lot of time teaching grammar and written rules, they don't always teach spoken structure. This is because it's assumed that everyone learns how to speak while growing up. However, with over 1 billion people speaking English as a second or third language worldwide, 3 times more than native speakers. It's important to focus on spoken structure as well. This course aims to fill this gap for those who were raised in non-English speaking environments. Hence, you'll find the modules in this course address some of the common nuances of spoken English that includes reductions like saying "let me" instead of "let me," and linking patterns like "next year" instead of saying "next year." In this course, we cover all sounds and help you practice them with minimal pairs. Minimal pairs are words that differ by only one sound, such as seat and sheet. By using minimal pairs, you can test your ability to hear and pronounce subtle differences between sounds. For example, the s sound in see and the sh sound in she are made by placing the tongue only a few millimeters away inside your mouth. Similarly, a few milliseconds of time separates the length of E in sheep and I in ship. If you don't pay attention to these small details, you may end up with a strong accent. Here in this course, you will practice commonly used words and phrases to learn the concepts of English pronunciation. I say commonly used because English has a huge vocabulary. For example, Webster Dictionary has over 400,000 words. It would take too long to practice them all. We need a practical approach. That's where Zipf's law comes in. This law says that a small set of words make up most of any language. English is no different. This course will help you practice over 1,500 words and phrases. These are high-frequency words that people use in almost 90% of their daily conversations. The rest, hundreds of thousands of words in Webster's dictionary, well, we use less than 10% of the time. You will have access to online videos, interactive exercises, and quizzes, along with one-on-one tutoring sessions with me. So if you end up having difficulties with your homework assignments, don't worry. You can always ask for help during our tutoring sessions. These sessions are designed to help you solve any problems and stay motivated towards your goal. The objective of this course is not to get rid of your accent completely, because if you learn English as an adult in a foreign environment, you'll always have a bit of an accent. This course will give you a jump start towards reducing your accent. It will give you a practical and effective roadmap for better pronunciation. Now, in order to take my course, you have to have a minimum intermediate level of English fluency. If you're not sure of your English competency level, you may take an online quiz to determine yourself. You can follow the link below in description to take this quiz. It will take you around 18 minutes. A score of 80 or more means that you are eligible to take my lessons. Hope this short video helped you gain some insight into the reasons why we have accents and how you can reduce accent and improve overall English pronunciation. If you're interested in my teaching approach, I would recommend you book a trial session with me and we'll go from there. Hope to see you on the other side.